There we go.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Bober. I work in marketing and communications here at Renew International. We're so happy to have you with us today to talk about Baptism Matters, our wonderful online virtual preparation program. It's a great program, and we can't wait to tell you about it. A little bit of housekeeping as we start the webinar. We are recording this webinar, and you will receive a copy of the recording. And if you, have questions, please, there's a question box, type them in as we go along. I'll take those questions in and then I will hand them over to our presenter today and he will answer them for you. So a little bit about Renew, for those of you who don't know us. Our mission is to renew personal faith and parish life, unlocking the power of small groups by equipping laity and clergy to share their Catholic faith and live it every day. So we want to help you really renew your parishes and form disciples through the power of small groups. So I'm going to hand things over to talk about Baptism Matters with Pete Fiore. So take it away, Pete.
Oh, thanks, Jennifer. And good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well and managing to stay safe. And welcome to our Baptism Matters webinar. Several years ago, I read a wonderful book called The Doors to the Sacred. It was a book that went through the tradition and the history of the sacraments. And it was written by Joseph Martos, if you ever want to read a good book about the sacraments. In that particular book, Dr. Martos says that baptism is not only the door to a sacred life, but it is the door to heaven, that it is what makes us, gives us the door to salvation. And those of us here today who work on baptism preparation teams or are part of parish staffs know about baptism and why it's important, but there are many today in the world that don't appreciate that. In the past, you had a baby, you got it baptized very soon after birth. Today, families get excited about a new baby being born, but there's no urgency in bringing a baby to be baptized. And so how do you get them into the doors of the church, and how do you get them into the font, the baptismal font? This was what we considered in putting together a new baptismal program. Now, there are others out there and other good programs, but we wanted ours to be different. We wanted ours to recognize that baptism is an initial point of evangelization, and not just for little babies, but for new young parents. So in order to create a different and a good program, we went and we looked at some of the statistics are out there and looked at characteristics of young people and young families. I'm going to share some of that with you right now, and I'm sure that none of what I'm going to show you is a big surprise. So when we looked at a lot of the surveys and analysis that was out there, we realized several things. Number one, young people today are very tech-oriented. This is the way young people do things. This particular item, cell phone, runs their life, not only theirs, but ours as well. And it's very easy to know that. All you have to do is look at a young person and you'll see their face buried in their cell phone. So they're very tech-oriented. They want things immediately. They want to be able to know that their communications are live, they're responsive, they're dynamic. The internet is what they live on. We also know that, looking at this sample schedule here, young people live very crazy lives. Unlike just maybe 20 years ago, where children were involved in one activity after school or on weekends, today, young kids are involved in everything. In fact, one survey gave a very frightening statistic. It said that by the age of 3, children were booked. They were overbooked with crazy things every minute of the day. So that's one thing to contend with. And then young parents not only want to give their children everything, but they're also seeking their own private time. One of the other characteristics is of young families today is that they are non-traditional. Unlike families of years ago, and also not too long ago, today we have lots and lots of non-traditional families. Single mom families, single dad families, families being, children being raised by grandparents and other family members. Also, many of these families are not well catechized. They're not as trained as previous generations, those families in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. Also, young families don't want to do things because there are rules, because they're supposed to. They're looking for different types of relationships with God and religious affiliations, not because they have to, but because they want to. We also know that young people don't feel it's important to be in a building, that coming to a church building is not as important as it used to be. However, they are looking for community. And community to them is different today than it was in the past, whereas community may have meant family members only. Today, community is more than just family. It's circles of friends, circles of work peers, circle of people because of the internet all over the world. So young people may not want to be in a physical place to be in community, but they are certainly looking for community. So in thinking about all of this, we looked for, what are the tips and what are the things we're going to use to create a baptism program? So some of the things that we looked at and realized that were important is that welcome really does matter. As a quick aside, I run across a lot of ex-Catholics, young ex-Catholics. And a lot of the time when I ask them why they left the Catholic faith, they come up with two answers. But the number one is always they did not feel welcome. And they definitely feel welcome in some of these evangelical churches. The other interesting thing is that they didn't feel that they were learning enough. And that's a catechetical issue. So we wanted to make our program a welcoming program. We also realized that we wanted to embrace the technology. Again, if you want to speak to someone and have it be effective, you need to use the same language, use the same vehicles. So we wanted to use technology. We also wanted it to be flexible so that we could give them scheduling options. We also wanted to meet them where they were. Okay, no judgment. Faith is a journey, and not everyone is on the same point on that journey. We did not want to be judgmental there. We wanted to be able to meet people and start with basics. We wanted to not assume a certain knowledge base. We wanted to be engaging and not be boring, but we also wanted to begin in a place where everyone would be able to be connected and also identify. We also wanted to include in our program opportunities to meet other people in the parish. So that would also feed the idea of community, but also we wanted our baptism program to not be a one and done. We wanted our baptism program to be the beginning of an evangelization program, a process, to not only engage people with their children in a sacrament, but also to help meet other people that are on their own faith journey in their parishes and encourage them and engage them in some parish life. More about that a little bit later. So we wanted to give them the opportunity to meet others in the parish. So in doing all of that, what makes us different? Again, as Jennifer said, it's a completely 100% online program. There's no printed materials to store or keep track of. All the components are online. They are all downloadable. All of the modules, and there are, I'll explain this a little bit later, but there are courses for staff, parents, and godparents, different modules in each one of those courses. But all of the modules in the parent and godparent modules cover all of the topics outlined in the general directory for catechesis for the sacrament of baptism. One of the advantages of doing an online program is that all of our modules can be updated as new things become available. We can update those in real time. This is one of the things that makes us unique and also gives us an advantage in that since everything can be updated and it's updated in the same place, and so everyone in your parish gets identical formation. Now, I have been doing baptism prep in my parish for the last 25 years. My baptism prep is every Tuesday night, the first Tuesday of every month. I worked with a team until I no longer have a team, so the team is just me. But I know that my baptism prep is the same for every set of parents that come in. Whenever I can't make the baptism prep and I assign it to one of the priests in the parish, it becomes a 15-minute program. So I know that they are not getting the same information that I'm giving. But with this program, every single set of parents and godparents, if you need that, is given identical formation. And that's an important thing. The other thing is that you don't have to worry about doing that catechesis. So you are freed up from having to do that kind of training, and your meetings with parents and godparents, if you require it, can be true pastoral meetings. Your meetings can be different. So, and we can talk a little bit about that later as well. Another thing that makes us different is that we encourage a mentoring model. Now, in dealing with some parishes across country, there's a lot of them that do that, but many more parishes than not are not using a mentoring model. And this is another opportunity for welcoming. It's also another opportunity to keep your young families engaged in parish life. The other interesting thing that I have found is that new young adults with new babies seem to gravitate towards more mature mentoring couples, because not only are they getting good sacramental preparation, but they're also getting good parenting tips. One of the things that we do provide is a very robust interview guide, and we do have other forms included in the manual. These can be printed out. They can also be sent by email to new young families, and families can complete those and get them to you prior to your initial meeting with you, so that your meeting with them does not have to be just gathering information, but it could also be a review of something that you've already received and seen ahead of time. And it can give you an opportunity to close the loop on some other things. So I'll give you a quick example. In doing in having an interview form completed prior to meeting, one parish using Baptism Matters had identified an opportunity for one of the parents that needed an annulment. And sitting down in that initial meeting, they were able to talk about that and actually got that parent started in an annulment process. So again, you don't have to waste time during that initial meeting collecting information, but you might also be able to use that time much more productively. So we also include in-person meeting guides. One of the things that we encourage too is that you can gather new young parents together for some small communal faith sharing. And we give you everything that you would need to do that, okay? It's an in-person meeting guide. It includes opening prayers, some faith sharing ideas, discussions for parents. We have done that in my parish. I have talked to other parishes that have done that. And out of that has grown some other ministries. So I can tell you that in some of the parishes I've talked to in doing this, they have gotten together a young mothers club and a young fathers club. And they also use the mentors to give them monthly talks. They also bring in some experts in the field of not only religious topics, but also in parenting topics. Again, it's an opportunity for keeping young parents engaged in parish life. The other thing that we have included in our program are follow-up automatic emails at birthdays and anniversaries of baptism. We are using that platform to be able to allow you as a parish to sound out other things to all those people whose children have been baptized. One of the nice things about our program that we hear is that it's a depository of information, not only for parents, but it's you as well. You have a very good electronic depository of everyone who has completed baptism prep with their certificates moving forward. Okay, so that is an idea of what makes us different, what you should expect from using this program. And before I show you what it looks like, I would see if we have any questions that need to be answered. So Jennifer, are there any questions from anyone at this point?
Not so far. I think people are just taking in what you're telling them about the program, and
okay. So we'll have an
find out more
opportunity.
later.
Okay, good. So let me show you when you start using Baptism Matters, you would get a login, and this is what you would see when you log in. You have your email becomes your username, you are given a password, and you will be brought to this particular site. Once you log in, you would log into your account, whatever your parish is. I'm going to use this parish, the Cathedral of St. Matthew over in Washington, D.C. This particular parish was one of our initial users, and within the first 2 weeks, I had put through 18 parents using this. But this is what you would see. This is your home page. If you look here, you'll see that across the top, you have different tabs. This is what the admin, what the coordinator of a parish would see. Along the left-hand side, you'll see all of the parents and godparents that are assigned to your group, your parish. In the middle of the page, you will see the progress of your parish as an aggregate. And on the right-hand side, you will see how many people have completed the program and the number of certificates issued. So this is what you as coordinator could see. When you want to see what an individual parent or godparent does, you would click on the name on the left. So what I'm going to show you next is I have clicked on Dan Branca, who was a godparent. Whoops. And let me go back. And this is what Dan's page would look like. So you'll see in the middle of the page Dan's name, and you would see his course progress right under his name. So he has completed the godparent program. And the one thing Dan did not do is complete his certificate. So now the coordinator can contact Dan and say, please print out your certificate for yourself and also email me your completed certificate. One of the things Dan can do is if he goes in there and he completes it, he would not have to email it to the coordinator. It would just pop up. But one of the things Dan could do, and I know Dan's situation, he was actually going to be the godparent for his nephew in a different state. So Dan was able to email his certificate to the pastor in that particular state. So that's something that can be done here. So this is what you can do and what you can see as coordinator. Let me do this. As coordinator also, you have access to 6 tabs along the top. So when you leave your dashboard and you move to the right and you hit resources, you will come up to a bunch of PDFs. These are going to be places, whole placeholders where we're going to be able to put information in for you, okay? So there's a Baptism Matters parish guide. That's what you would want to read. It would give you all of the information that you need to get up and running. So it's your go-to place. There's a tab here for ordering instructions. That's how you would get your parents the licenses to use to go through the courses, and also for the godparents. We have a tab for family resources. This tab here is where we will place all kinds of goodies in the future. Now, one of the nice things in the last 6 months of lots of parishes using this online class work for their parishes, they have fed back lots of good information to me, and we have included a lot of that in this family resources. So I'll give you an example. One of the ones that we included there is a PDF for parents as tips to how to choose baptismal names, and also how to go about choosing good godparents. And also for coordinators, there's the Baptism Matters program view. So that's what you would see here, okay? So now you have seen your dashboard, right? Which is, getting in, your dashboard, how to get to an individual, how to get to your resources. As you move along those tabs on the upper part of this, you can pull down reports. You can pull down reports that'll show you people who have done this in the last week, last month. You'll get to see their progress so that you can call people and say, hey, you know what, Mary, you have a baptism coming up in 2 weeks. You haven't started your courses. Please start them. The Manage tab will allow you to add new users. And then, of course, we have a Store tab where you can go in and you can order licenses for parents and godparents if you wish. Now, I'd like to give you an idea of what the courses look like, okay? So the courses all begin with a prayer. And let's see, get to that. All right. So they all begin with a prayer. And when the prayer is over, we go to a witness story. What we have done is our program is a combination of video and some reading, catechetical training, and also some knowledge checks. So we have the opening prayer. Here we would go through a little bit of some witnessing. Then we go through the catechetical training on baptism. And then when we're done with that, we end up going through a knowledge check. Now, the knowledge check is just 5 very simple questions, not meant to trick anyone or trip anybody up. It's just to give them an idea of how well they have assimilated the material. And just to give you an idea of how easy the questions are, the very first question is, John the Baptist was baptized in the Jordan by who? By Jesus. Jesus was baptized in the Jordan by who? John, one of the apostles, someone from the synagogue. Very simple, easy to answer questions. Okay. So that's pretty much how it works. Um, there's a course for staff, which contains 5 modules, a course for parents, which is 4 modules, and a course for godparents, which is 3 modules. Each module is 20 minutes from start to end if you sit down and do it from start to end. So doing the math, you can see that it does not take parents any more than approximately 80 to 90 minutes to do the preparation, which is basically what you would do more than likely if you had them in person. If a parent decides that the baby just went to sleep and it's 12 o'clock at night and I now have 20 minutes of free time, I want to knock off a module, they can go on, they could look at a module. If they start to get tired and they want to stop it, well, when the baby wakes up again at 2 in the morning and they get 5 more minutes, it'll bring them right back to where they left off. So again, it's very flexible. It could be done at their convenience, and they do not have to go back to the beginning to get to where they left off. All right. Now, I mentioned that a number of people have been using Baptism Matters. I think that if you here today are doing baptism prep and have a number of baptisms to perform because you have been prevented from doing them, and you need a good and expedient way to prepare those parents and godparents, and I think Baptism Matters could possibly be the answer for you. So, I have had the pleasure of working with a good number of parishes across the country during the last 5-6 months, and they have fed back to me good and bad. It wasn't perfect when we launched. We launched it at a time when we wish we had a little bit more time to look, but it served a need. So I have to give a shout out to all those parishes that helped us get things to where they are today. And one of, again, the very first parishes was in Washington, and the coordinator there was Teresa Primachevsky. And Teresa's comments that I'm going to show you right now kind of sum up pretty much the feedback that I get from people using this. And Teresa has basically said that Baptism Matters is theologically sound, pastorally sensitive, and extremely user-friendly. And I think that not only sums up what other people are telling me about Baptism Matters, but honestly, that is very reassuring, and it makes us here very proud to hear that, because that's exactly what we wanted to accomplish. We wanted a program that was theologically sound, that would do everything that you needed it to do in catechizing your parents, that it was pastorally sensitive, that it spoke to all types of family units today. It doesn't shout out to any one particular family unit, and that it's extremely friendly. Now, the joke here is that I've had lots of coordinators call me that they couldn't get things up and running, but I have not heard from one single parent or godparent on how to use this, because it's so very easy for them. So I was happy that that message got through. So by now you might be wondering what this program would cost you, and so here is a parish investment. $299 is the initial parish fee, and that includes access to everything. So as a coordinator, or coordinators, you would have access to all the courses, all the modules, staff, parents, and godparents. You would have access to the website, which would give you all of the resources that we have. It would also give you access to all of the monitoring of your parents and your godparents, everything that I showed you before. The renewal each and every year is half that, $150 in subsequent years. And parents and godparents would need to log in for a license, and it's $25 per parent set or godparent. Okay. One of the things is I think that I'm hoping that many of you watching this right now would have a need and might be thinking, I would like to give this a try. So I'm going to give you a special offer. If you contact me in the next couple of days, I will give you a free access for a week to take a look at each and every one of those modules, all of them. I'll give you an opportunity in 1 week to actually put a set of parents or godparents through at no cost to the parish. Okay, because I'm that convinced that this would be helpful to you. And so all you would need to do is contact me here. You can phone me if you like at 908-769-5400, extension 110, or you can use my email address there at the bottom. And I would be more than happy to set you up. If you email me and you want free access to take a look, I'm going to need 2 things from you. I'm going to need your first and last name. Well, I'm actually going to need 3 things, sorry. I'll need your parish name, I'll need your first and last name, and I'll need your email address in order to set you up, okay? And so that's pretty much it, and I would be more than happy to answer any and all of your questions.
So you've actually answered a couple of the questions already. Someone asked what the cost is, which you just shared. Someone else asked if there are video components. Yes, absolutely there are. But a wonderful question, and especially because we get to answer it well. So far, all the pictures that you had shared were of white children and parents. Are the photos throughout racially diverse?
Yes. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, they are. Yes, they
that
are.
was something that we were, very conscious of, to make sure that whoever came to this program could, at some point in the photos, see themselves in what they were being shown.
Yeah, good question, and that's actually that was one of the shout outs that Teresa Primachevsky made when she said that it was pastorally sensitive. Yes.
Yep. We have a question. Is the program available in Spanish?
I knew that was coming up. As of today, it is not. Okay. Yeah, as of today, it is not. But we are working to do something hopefully in the future. Yes. Now, I want to just answer that too in another way. I get that question each and every day. Okay. And I would say that lots of times when I get that particular question and I answer it in the negative, the next response I get is, oh, okay, well, that might not be a big problem because most of my families are bilingual. And although they like to look at the material that might be in Spanish, they are bilingual. And I think we can make it work.
So another question that we have, Deacon Tom from Holy Trinity, he knows us well because he asks, is there a group sharing for Zoom or otherwise?
A group sharing in what respect? What do you?
I think he's asking if there is like a faith sharing component to this.
Yes, so we do recommend that parishes would do that with their young families. So that was one of the things that was listed as what makes us a little bit different. And we do give guidelines in how to do that, and how we give opportunity for you to see some prayers, some discussion points. Plus, we also have lots of other resources that we could make available. And again, this was geared to be a work in progress as we move along. The progress is dynamic in that we are going to be adding lots of things. So, Deacon Tom or anybody else online, if you have some good ideas, like all those parishes that fed me over the last 6 months, send them in, because we do have that resource library and we are putting things in there so that everyone benefits.
Right. And if you can go back to the cost slide, someone lost their connection for a moment. And Deacon Tom was asking the $25 per login. That's not each time that they go to the computer.
Oh, no,
it's for the couple for the duration of it. So their $25 gets them in as many times as they need to go in.
Yes. Oh, no, God. No, it's not every time they go in. No, that would probably benefit us, but no, it wouldn't benefit them. So let me say this. They purchase a license, a one-time fee of $25, and that license is good for 1 full year. Okay, and I think that's important to know, because I had one parish that signed up and said, okay, this is good. We're not anticipating doing any baptisms until Christmas or beyond, because we're just in one of those states. And I can use this now, and people can either start now and get it out of the way, or they can use it within the year as we're opening up again. So having it for a year is a really good thing. It sounds a little crazy to begin with, but having it for a year, is a good thing. And it is, they can log in as many times as they want. They can log back in when they're finished, if they want to go back for a refresher or whatever. Right?
Okay. Tom was asking about with the group sharing, that this is done independently. Yes, this is something that we don't host the group sharing.
Right.
Your parish would host the group sharing. We provide you with an outline and a structure to use for that sharing, but you yourselves would be doing that sharing with your parishioners. And that's really, I mean, part of the point of that is so that you make the connection with them. We want them to be connected to their parish. We'd love to have them also connected to Renew at some point, but we're trying to help you keep your people connected.
Yeah. One of the major goals of putting a program like this together was to close the gap between a baby's baptism and First Holy Communion. Parents come in, they baptize their baby, and they don't show up in church again until First Holy Communion. Then they come back for confirmation. Then they come back for weddings, and then maybe we see them when somebody dies or something else. So what we were trying to do here is get young parents engaged in parish life so that you can see their face between baptism and First Holy Communion. And also give them opportunity to see what your parish has to offer people. And knowing your parish, Tom, there are things for people. So you'd want to expose them to that. And part of that exposure process is the mentoring couples that I mentioned also, and the getting them together. One of the things that we do in my parish is, prior to this pandemic, is we were doing monthly dinners. That's how we got our parents together. So everybody that baptized a baby in the past year in January was invited to a dinner at some point in January. And then we did it in February through the remainder of the year. And we did that, and we did it. We started with a little community prayer and some faith sharing, and then we had meal. And that did really well. And what ended up happening was people started meeting on their own after that because they enjoyed it. And they didn't enjoy it so much, I don't think, I have to be honest, wasn't for the religious part of it. But they liked it because they had an opportunity to get together and say, hey, how's your baby doing? And just make sure all of their kids are on the same, level. And, hey, I found a great tip for this or that. And then we kind of squeezed in some of the religion. So, but it got them engaged with other people, and they got to see some other ministries in the parish.
Okay, we have more questions. Do the staff modules prep the mentor couples, and what is your single parent experience?
Yeah, so yes, that is true. We do, you can use the staff modules to prep the mentors. Some of the comments I get from staff is, even though I'm not involved in parent or godparent preparation, it was good for me to go through the staff modules because I get an opportunity to see what's being done. So I would suggest that if if parish secretary or any parish volunteers that touch new parents coming in with babies, show them, because we do include in the staff module opportunities and tips for welcoming. So that's good for anybody that comes in contact with new parents. How do we handle single parents? Well, you can. So that's interesting, because in talking to some people who have done that, I'm hearing success where they're, partnering them with single parent mentoring, and also just putting in, double parent mentoring. But if you have anyone that has baptized a baby recently that is in a single parent family, and you can partner them with a new single parent family, that would be a good thing. The feedback is very, very positive.
Okay, we have another question about the login fee. How's that administered? The parent or godparent has to pay, or is there a way for the parish to assume that cost on their behalf?
Okay, so there's two ways to do it. Great question. Let me see if I could go back to that. Okay. If you look here up in the upper left-hand side, it says ordering instructions. If you click on that, you'll get a PDF, and it'll go through the two ways that you can give parents or parents can get a course. If you decide as a parish to supply the courses to parents and godparents or just parents, you can go and click on the tab on the upper right that says store. And I wish I could show you that in real time, but if you click on that, it'll drop down a box that says store. You click on that, and you're brought to something that looks like an Amazon ordering site. There are two courses, one for parents, one for godparents. It asks you how many you want to buy, and you click on the quantity, and then it brings you right to a checkout, and you would put in your credit card information, and you could purchase. So for example, this particular diocese, parish right here, the Cathedral Parish of St. Matthew, they go in once a month, they click on the store, and they purchase 20 licenses, and they own them. And then right on the bottom of this page, which you cannot see, but where it says manage certificates on the right-hand side, below that, it'll show how many licenses they own. As they add parents and godparents, they can assign a course. So that's one way. You buy, as a parish, the courses. If you don't want to get involved in any of that, then there is a website, www.renewonline, and you give that website to the new parent or godparent. They go online, they put their credit card information. While they're doing that, they're creating an account. Once they purchase the course and they click on it to open it, it automatically brings them to a dashboard like this. They click, they're going to come to a thing, and instead of seeing your parish, they'll click this little button there that says change. They'll see the name of your parish, they'll click on it, and they're automatically assigned to you. Very simple. They get a full set of directions. So there's two ways to do it. So I hope that answered that. Okay. So it all depends on whether you want to pay or not. And right now, it's about 50-50.
And Thomas asks, godparents are a separate fee, correct? Yes, they are.
They are, Tom, and everyone, because it's a different course. Anything else?
Not seeing anything.
Okay.
Anything more?
All right. Again, you have my phone number. Let's go back to that again. You can contact me either through the phone number or my email address. I access that all day, every day, including weekends. I'd be more than happy to send you whatever you would like if you have other questions. And again, like I said, I'm hopeful that you would like to see and touch and feel this by having access to trying it out. So if there's no other questions,
Doesn't look like.
all right. So I thank you again. I thank you for your help, Jennifer. I wish all of you well. God bless you, your family, and your friends, and I pray that he keeps each of you safe. God bless.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Pete.
Sure. Bye-bye. Yeah. I just looked through them. There's 3 people who asked them, so you know. But that's good. I'll reach out to them and see what I could do. I thought that was great. And as I was looking through this, and I saw that the minute we open up baptism matters, but maybe we should change that picture and put a group of a bunch of people. Like maybe we could find a picture with 3 people, white, black, because that question there, I mean, that was my nightmare last night, and it came up. Yeah. So, yeah, there's some things that, yeah, if you can, yeah, and if not, yeah, I think it would be worth it. I think that makes sense, and that's an easy fix, you know. So, yeah, good. Well, thanks for your help. That was good. I was crazy that I couldn't keep my place and everything. But yeah, so that's good. I didn't see the number of participants. I think it was, let's see, 11. No, oh, wait a minute. How many people actually participated? Did it say, was it 11? No, it was 11 questions. Jen? Hello? Hello? Jen? I can't. I don't know what the heck happened. Is it me? Oh, I don't know what the heck happened. I looked. I said, did I put my phone on mute? No, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Things are going crazy here. But I didn't quite see how many participants there were. Yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah. It would be worth it, I guess. To do something. Feedback for me was that I spent too much time on any one particular thing, or too worried. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. And sometimes I just get carried away. I don't want to do that. I know my wife makes me very aware of it. That's fine. It's not no problem. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Great. Okay. Well, I'll reach out to those people who were there. I'm interested to see if they have the ones who actually registered. And certainly Tom already sent me a note. He already sent me a note and said, give me a try, which I figured out. And yeah, and you know what was interesting is that he's been in the office a number of times with Al and right? And so, he's been in my office and I showed him the baptism manuals, but he never was interested in it. So apparently he must be doing the prep at this point. And that's good because he's right down the road here. That's good. And that would be great. Yeah, I know. Right. He knows us. Yeah. Not only that, but he's got some pretty good connections. So he's excited about this. So that was a good thing. But, all right. Well, great. Thank you again. And all right. Have a good rest of the day. All right. Yep. That's all. Bye. Yes. Daily sale. What is the happy? Yeah, what so one thing we wanted to know not if, how many parishes. So for example, we have $50,000, $20,000 as a she wants to see a list of all of the parishes, right? Let's say 10 parishes, total thanks, and subtracting it from calculating that's not really not this. So this is good for all of the people. Hope we don't need any other problems.